ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon.
Well, Roundtable family, welcome. Hi, my name is Robert Bannon. You're listening to us on the Broadway Podcast Network. You're watching us on Broadway World or over on social media. You know, we love we're not just Broadway. We don't just razzle dazzle. We talk about movies. We talk about movies, everybody. And we've been talking about so many movies, and I love independent movies, and I love people who are crazy like our next guests, like Morgan and Patrick, who I don't even know, but they're already crazy because they have already decided that they're going to make a movie. And anyone who decides to fundraise and make a movie and distribute it to this world, I think is the best kind of crazy, and I can't wait to hear their entire journey. Morgan and Patrick, welcome to the Round Table, a bunch of crazy people making art.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thanks for having us.
We're talking about a film called Microbudget, am I correct? And whose movie is this? And how do you all know each other?
Well, it's all of our movie. It's collectively everybody involved in the making of it, and now it's the audience's movie. Really,
it's the world's movie
now it's out of our hands. Yeah, but yeah, Patrick and I co-wrote the film together, and I directed it, and Patrick stars in it along with his real life wife Emily.
Patrick. You know, a lot of people don't want to spend time with their wife, or I should say wives don't want to spend time with their husbands. So was that always, when you went into it, was it always something that you were going to do, is cast your wife as a real life character in the film?
Well, so I co-wrote it with Morgan, and we wrote it as if the main two of the main characters would be myself and my wife. But like, you know, and obviously I think it made us laugh a lot because I can sort of lean into kind of being a dysfunctional character or whatever. And my wife is very, you know, like we just kind of played to our, I hate to say it, but we played to our strengths a little bit, like in terms of like what I'm funny doing. And then obviously, like, you know, we wrote it together, and I had hoped that Morgan would cast me, but it wasn't predetermined or anything. But I think, you know, it's really fun that it is Emily and I in the role. And we love working, you know, we love working with each other. Like, work is one of the things that we like really, you know, I mean, no couple has a perfect situation, but like when we get to work together, when we get to create together and make art together, it's a blast, you know?
Well, I'm obsessed with this film because Morgan, the poster says epic ambition, major delusion. And you have a whole bunch of festivals that it's already been in Canada and coming to the United States. And you can go to microbudgetmovie.com. The link will be below us. And it's a mockumentary about a moron attempting to make a feature film. So Morgan, and I read about some of it, Adam McKay spoofs, Step Brothers, this kind of idea. How do you describe this film, Morgan?
It's definitely influenced by a lot of the comedies that I grew up seeing. I felt like, you know, it had been a long time since you'd been able to go to a movie theater and see like a joke a second comedy that had sort of been regulated to the TV space. And I just felt like if we were going to make something on our own, we wanted to make something that we felt like nobody would give us money to do. And so that obviously means, you know, a comedy, which is really hard to get made right now, unlikable lead character, and about show business, right? So it's like kind of inside baseball. So it's all of the things you're not supposed to do. We did everything short of working with dogs and children. Yeah.
Yes, come on. And Patrick, you and this film, how do you describe this film? I mean, you have an incredible cast of people that are a part of it. If it's SNL stars like Bobby Moynihan, if it's my friend Brandon, he's such a star, and he's like fancy, and he went to like Yale, and he's like a real actor. So how did you cast this movie?
I mean, you know, we have to shout out to, obviously Morgan is the director, and Rob and Paloma, our two producers, were instrumental in like putting this all together and making everything happen. Now, Morgan and I came up doing comedy together in New York at UCB New York. And so we had some connect, you know, we wrote it like improvising with each other. And we did, you know, I mean, obviously we scripted it, but a lot of that process was improv. And then we were like, you know, there were some people that were our friends or our teachers, like John Gabris had taught us or coached one of our teams for a really long time. And like Morgan and Neil Casey are really close. And we knew that if we kind of locked in a couple of those people, you know, then maybe some other people would follow. And actually Brandon Michael Hall, who's amazing, and he was just absolutely incredible and such a joy and delight to have on set. he was like this person we got early on that we were like so excited about. Like I remember, I wasn't like as much a part of the casting process, but like Morgan and Robin Paloma would like, let us know and be like, oh, Brandon Michael Hall wants to do it. And I was like, oh my God, that was a guy who I was really excited about. But once we got the people that we knew with our like past relationships, then all of a sudden it was like, oh, Bobby Moynihan has worked with Don Finelli. And so he wants to do it. And, and I just was like enjoying getting the updates, and just being like, holy shit, so I hope I can swear on this. My apologies.
You can say anything you want on this.
All right.
So I love this cast and I love the idea and I love the genre of films. And I think you both make a really good point that we don't go to a lot of movies and just have a good time and laugh like we used to. Now, Morgan, when I'm reading this bio about you that was sent to me by your people, so I don't know if it's real or not because it was not vetted, but I'm sure it is, Morgan. You have done animated films before, and you have done documentaries, and you have done cartoons and written for things like Teen Titans, which my godson has every watch, and I've spent more money on damn Teen Titans shit than ever in my life. So thank you for that. But you have never, is it true that this is your first feature film as a writer and a director?
That is true. That's correct. Yes. Somebody vetted it, clearly.
When people read my bio, I just say that my mom wrote it on a napkin somewhere, which is accurate. So was this always the dream? Like, is the goal, like, is this a big check on the lifelong Morgan checklist of this is your feature coming out?
Yeah, for sure. Like Patrick said, we had done improv together in New York and had done a lot of live comedy, but I always wanted to make feature films. That's what I got in the business to do. I had some luck early on in my career. Like my first job ever was at The Onion. I worked on both the Onion shows and kind of worked at MTV for a while. And Patrick and I had made some web series together, and I had made a web series. And then, but throughout all of that, I was writing screenplays, and trying to get them sold to, some options here and there, like had an option at Paramount and things like that. And then sort of during COVID had pivoted pretty hard to animation just because it was sort of one of the only things going. Yeah. So I wrote an animated Batman film called Merry Little Batman, which just came out in December on Amazon Prime. Everybody should also go check that movie out. But yeah, like throughout all of that, the goal had always been make feature films, and mostly I only write comedies, for better or for worse. That's like all I'm really capable of doing. And so Patrick had called me and said, hey, would you ever want to write something together? And the answer was like, obviously, yes. I think Patrick's so talented and so funny. But coming from the traditional studio side, I was like, I really don't want to write something that just goes nowhere or gets optioned but never gets made. I was like, so if we're going to do something, I want to write something that we could go shoot tomorrow with our friends. And so, yeah, this has been a long time coming. And that was the, sort of what we went into the writing process thinking about. And then we shot it like 6 months later. So it did all come to fruition. Yeah.
Amazing. And Patrick, you have award nominations, and you have, Upright Citizens Brigade, if anyone knows about that, it was quite the thing to be a part of. And you have a lot of credits. I mean, we could list credits or television and things like that, and all sorts of fun things and streaming and all of that. But you as a director in the past for Comedy Central, or you as somebody who has worked on projects or creative projects, is it hard for you to let go of the reins and let your friend direct you when you are a director, or you are someone who has produced and worked in this way?
Nobody has asked that question yet, and I haven't answered it in front of Morgan yet. But in a way, yeah. I mean, like especially like I've directed stuff myself, and like we wrote it together, and then it was like this thing where Morgan, I mean, he literally had to make it happen, and I wasn't even living in Los Angeles at the time, so it was like almost by necessity that I couldn't be a part of a lot of that process. But I do think, like, on one hand, of course, I want to be more, like I have a director's mind and stuff like that. But on another hand, especially as a performer and especially as like somebody who was a lead, I think it was kind of smart for us to compartmentalize that, because then I didn't have to think about any logistical anything. You know what I mean? Like I just could go in as this very specific character and improvise as this character. So in a way, it was like very liberating. And it actually made me like somewhat look back on some of the things that I wrote and directed. And I was like, you know, and act. I would act and stuff as well that I would direct, and I was kind of like, oh, that's kind of a lot. You know what I mean? Like it was much easier to just have the freedom to be in the character and be in that person, you know, and listen and react. And I think it freed me up to be a little funnier and take more risks than I might have taken. Cause then, you know, it's like Morgan's job to rein me in, you know?
Yes.
So I like that question. But it was tough because, you know, I think Morgan and I also have a very similar sensibility. So it's easy for me to trust him. Yeah.
I love that. And I love friends, and I love friends who are creative together. And what Patrick was trying to say in a nice way is that he's never been asked that question before. And this has been the most superior interview he's ever done. And that's what I take.
Yeah, that was the subtext. Yeah.
Thank you, Patrick. I just wanted that clear for everyone watching. Thank you.
No, for sure.
But enough about me. Back to you all. Morgan, was this film made on a micro budget?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everybody was paid SAG ultra low minimum or something, which is like $200 a day. Like, you know, there's some big names in the film. Nobody got rich off this thing at all. Everybody really did it for the passion and wanted to make a movie. We shot it in 11 days, which is insane. We shot it in one location. It was my girlfriend's parents' house, you know, like, everything about it was as low budget as humanly possible. Yeah.
I love it. Now, Patrick, when we read the tagline about and I was sent a screener of this movie, so I can't wait to watch it this weekend. I can't wait to watch it because I love a good comedy, and it's the premise, just the fact that the character that Patrick plays is Terry, discovers he's about to be a father, and then he does what every sane person, that's what you all wrote, every sane person does. He moves him and his 9-month pregnant wife from Iowa to Los Angeles to shoot a low-budget indie movie to sell it to a streamer for a fuck ton of money, is what you all said. Is this purely out of your head, or Patrick? Was there some truth to this? Is this been your life plan?
I mean, you know, we joke around about like some of it being somewhat meta, but Terry is such an absolute piece of shit that, like, you know, like obviously, like it's almost an insane business to be in the first place because you're already taking these risks. And, you know, my wife and I did move to Los Angeles around the same time, and we are trying to start a family. So like there's parts of it that there's truth in it, of course, right? Or Morgan is taking all the financial risk like the lead character. But, Terry, you'll see for yourself. I mean, Terry is a person who has no business making a film. He is completely out of his league. Like he just has no idea what he's doing, which is, you know, something I think Morgan and I both find very funny, as like a lot of people in positions of power who kind of don't know what they're doing and come across that way and lack self-awareness. It's not like he's a bad guy. He's just very dumb, you know, and he fails upward, you know.
This sounds like a fun time. Morgan, I know that's been in film festivals, and I don't think people understand the idea of what it's like to distribute a movie and make a movie, and the money and time and how much time it takes. But then people see film festivals pop up and they don't understand the politics and how much work it is to even submit to a film festival. So what has it been like to get responses and to now screen this in the film festivals that you did in September and upcoming?
Yeah, I mean, it's been great because, you know, we made a comedy. We made a joke a second comedy with a ton of jokes. And it almost doesn't feel like the movie's done until you're able to sit in an audience and hear people laugh along to it. And not that the movie needs a laugh track to work or anything, but like comedies are meant to be seen in a dark room surrounded by strangers. And I think that, you know, you don't get the same experience just like watching this on your laptop or something. Like, hopefully you do enjoy the film if you watch it alone and you get some laughs out of it. But being able to sit amongst people you've never met before, laughing at the same type of thing, is really like why I got into this business and what I really love about it. Like, the process does matter and the process is important, and we had a blast making the film. But, you know, putting it out into the world is like the second component of it. You can't make movies in a vacuum. You need people to see them. So that's been infinitely rewarding. It's been great.
So, Patrick, how can we, firstly, I can only imagine what it's like to see it in an auditorium, in a movie theater with people and hear them laugh after and get your sense of humor and get the film. Patrick, how can we, the regular people, support the film, see the film? What can we do?
Yeah, I mean, go to microbudgetmovie.com. If it's in a festival, I mean, and check it out. I think you can even like request that it be shown at some point in the future. That'll be a thing where it's like, if you want to see it in a theater in locally, you can make that request. And like, think there's things that can happen to make that happen. Because that would be the dream, right? To have people be able to experience this in a theater. I think it's a really fun experience. And everybody who has done that at the festival so far seems to enjoy it a lot. So I think like go to the website, check out, see if it's in a festival near you. If you've seen it already, give us a review on Letterboxd. Like if you happen to go see it at a festival and you're on Letterboxd, just give it a review. And yeah, I mean, at this point, you know, I just want people to see it, like, and seeing it in a theater is in this particular case, because it is about making a movie. It's just very satisfying to see the whole situation unfold and this guy sort of like fall down a flight of stairs trying
for an hour and a half.
Yeah, for an hour and a half. Yeah.
Well, we're going to watch it when it's in it. So we're going to go to the website. We're going to link you all there. All of your Instagrams and everything will be below, so you can be following and seeing what up their hijinks they have up their hand. We're going to watch Morgan. We could watch on Amazon. We could watch your Batman animated film right now, so that Morgan can make money that then can be used to make more movies that have micro budgets. And Patrick, I want to shout out to your wife. I love that you're like an acting out here, hustling family, dreaming the dream and making the movies. And that's not easy, everybody. And what they're doing requires a genius and insanity. And I love it. I'm here for it. I'm thankful. Thank you both for being here. And we're going to check out the movie Micro Budget. It's coming to film festivals, and it could come to a theater near you. And I'm sure eventually we'll be able to see it from home, right?
For sure. Yeah,
so
definitely.
Stay up to speed, and thank you all. My show's your show. I hope you can come back with the next one.
Thank you so much for having us.